Welcome back to Winnie's Travels, where you get to watch me renovate my 1987 Winnebago RV. Today I'll be showing you guys how I installed the roof vents and then also how I replaced all of the old caulking with new sealants and caulks and RV roof tapes and the works to waterproof the roof. The technique that I developed to clean around the roof vents and in the areas where I installed new caulking was to first wipe down the area with soap water and then use that wetness to pat down the entire area with baking soda. After spritzing again with white vinegar, I used a wire brush attached to my drill to give the aluminum a serious deep clean. I found that the process worked really well. The roof vents are installed with butyl tape, which is a thick and goopy tape, but it works just like tape. The only thing is that it likes to be refrigerated a couple hours before use. When you screw in around the butyl tape, you need to make sure that the holes are pre-drilled, but you also need to randomize the order that you screw the screws in, sort of crisscrossing in a pattern so that the tape can essentially suction evenly and it won't squirt out. All right, so yeah, I've pretty much finished up, oh, this comes off. I did not realize that actually. I've pretty much finished up working on the roof. I still have a couple other things that I'm gonna have to do, so I'll talk about those. But yeah, let's go check it out. So there's the four roof vents that have fans, and that's these guys, the one that goes above the fridge in the RV. So I don't really know what it's gonna ventilate. There's no way to close it, so it will always vent air, so in the winter I'll probably have to figure out how to kind of close it up. And then this vent, the hole was originally like that big, and it's the one that in the RV was above the shower. So I actually couldn't find a vent on like literally anywhere on the internet that was that size, and it had to be replaced because it literally had a hole in the middle of it. So what I did is I actually bought this sheet of like 16th inch aluminum. So then I just like cut this piece. Like literally I just used my scissors. Like it's so easy to cut. And then I just used the same construction adhesive that I used to put the little like wood frames that I built, that I drilled the vents into. I used the same construction adhesive to just put it on the roof. And then I was able to get the right dimensions to install this one. They call them plumbing vents, and there were two of those in the original RV, and so I just, there were the holes, and so I just, they were really cheap. They were like $5 or something to purchase new ones, so I replaced those as well because they were falling apart. All of the things on the roof had to be replaced because they were straight up just falling apart. The plastics are really cheap, so they tend to fall apart pretty quickly, so even I'll have to probably replace the lids on these pretty frequently. I've seen some pretty bad reviews for the roof vents in terms of the plastics like holding up, especially in sunny weather. And it's like, yeah, we live in Massachusetts where it's sunny for like half the year, so honestly they might hold up for longer than they hold up for some people in sunnier places. I basically used four 4 different types of caulking to replace everything. So this black stuff is just this roof sealant that was pretty hard to install. I would definitely not recommend it, honestly. I found that even after I used it, that I had leaks, so I had to solve that problem with this white tape here. So for example, this section underneath had that black caulking, or roof sealant, but which is supposed to be like 100% waterproof. It's supposed to work really well. It's supposed to be for like, you know, roofs, but it just did not. I probably just like didn't really install it correctly. I probably just didn't like, honestly, I don't know. It just didn't really work, and there were still some leaks. So I decided to install over the layer of caulking this stuff called Eternabond tape, which is built specifically for RV roofs because they leak all the freaking time. So there's all these like products to help prevent your RV roof from leaking. So it's this like kind of fancy duct tape, I guess. And you have to install it under a certain temperature, over a certain temperature. So I had to wait until it was like over 40 degrees every time I wanted to use it, because it's already winter here. But I ended up being able to install it because thankfully it's not already like January. It's still November. So I put that on, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that works. I ended up using it kind of as much as I could because I bought 50 feet of it. So I had quite a lot of it, and I was able to install it pretty much in all the places where I was super paranoid about leaks and where I noticed that the black caulking just like didn't quite do it. What I did, over here I had like these two little, I ended up being able to kind of use the rest of the piece of aluminum that I had to kind of install these little circles around. There was like the TV thing here, I don't even know, and I obviously was getting rid of that because it doesn't even work anymore. But I think it was like the radio thing too. So there was just like a bunch of holes right here. Even caulking the whole thing would have probably been like ridiculous, because it would just been like a giant blob of caulking right here. So I decided to like cut these little pieces of aluminum out, and then of course I caulked around and had the same problem where it was still leaking. So I used the tape, and then I cut these little. I did kind of like something that I would have done with fabric when you need to make pleats almost. So I cut like, instead of cutting all the way through and like using a little piece each time, this is all one piece, and I just cut slits and then folded them over each other because I figured that would probably be the best way, because the tape is thick enough that you can't just make it a circle. It's, that's like that. Physics, I don't know. Oh my God, that scared me. There's so much like old caulking there that I couldn't even remove all of it. It would have taken me, the main lesson learned is that removing old caulking from the 80s takes like, you can get like an inch an hour. Like it literally took so much freaking longer than I ever imagined it would. I feel like someone's probably like, hey, you should just try Goo Gone. But I found that did not work. I did try it. I bought this little bottle of Goo Gone Pro Power, and it just didn't work, which kind of makes sense, because it's not like I was really removing an adhesive. It's more a substance. But yeah, I would say does not work for removing caulking. And I would also say that really no adhesive remover type life hack thing that you find on the internet is really probably, don't get your hopes up. It's probably not going to work for old caulking because I tried all of them. This whole section here was just like mountains and mountains of old caulking. And I was like, there's just no human way that I'm going to be able to remove this, which is what Eternabond roof tape is for. So I just put that here, and now it looks so much better. Over here on the sides, I used, because I totally did not repurchase that bad caulking that I totally hate and don't trust, and also it's the color black, which is like, I'm going to be painting the roof white, so whatever. But this caulking that you can't even really see because it's clear, but this I actually just installed today. And that is hopefully going to work a lot better. It's called Through the Roof. The main reason I got it is because I needed to get a caulking that you can apply in freezing temperatures, because it's already freezing here like every day, all the time. So I needed something that could work in cold weather. And it looks like it's probably going to hold up a lot better. And it was way easier to apply. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that that's awesome. This like white gunk is the other kind of caulking that I used, and this is called Dicor Lap Sealant or Dicor Lap Roof Sealant, IDK, and that I'll link it in the description, obviously. But this stuff is like self-leveling, which is the coolest thing ever. So what it does is, like, instead of becoming like a weird clumpy mass like the black stuff does, it actually like quite literally self-levels. So you like put it on and it's like this clump, and then it kind of like it flattens out. And so these are kind of messy because they got dirty and I stepped on a couple of them, so I might have to fix some of that. I like it as well because it kind of makes everything look a little cleaner up here. Yeah, so that's my roof. Thanks for hanging out with me up here and watching me talk about this stuff. So for just a general sort of working life update, I got these gloves, these general purpose firm grip gloves from Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever, for like 10 bucks. And they have changed my life, honestly. Working has become so much easier. I would say I just didn't even really, I was like working with my bare hands. I just didn't even really realize what working with gloves, if you can find a pair that actually like really fits your hands, which these do for me, that can totally change your experience and really make you work like twice as fast, but also just like make you feel more comfortable while you're working. Cause I was just like kind of hesitant to touch stuff because it would always scratch me. So honestly, definitely invest in a good pair of gloves. And then the other thing is that I would say is an equally good investment, and also just necessary when you're using certain products, is this like ventilator mask situation. So that it's just called like general household DIY purpose ventilator. Probably again at any of your like big name store like Lowe's or Home Depot, or just like probably you could find them if you have a place where you can shop locally. That's awesome. Yeah, so I would say both of these things have really changed my life. I can now like breathe, which is really cool. That's all for now, folks. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and stay tuned for more of Winnie's travels.